Hey everybody, welcome to today's FindTheBestCarPrice.com video. Today we're going to take a look at the 2022 Volvo XC90 T6 all-wheel drive Inscription. This is a 7-seater SUV and has a sticker price of $72,160. Let's take a look. So let's talk about the XC90, the flagship of the Volvo SUVs. It's the largest. It's a 3-row crossover SUV. Very comfortable, enjoyable to drive, and a lot of great features. And of course, there are multiple trim levels, but the thing here that is so interesting about the XC90 is that it hasn't received a full refresh in about 7 model years. Not very many car makers can get away with that, but Volvo has made incremental little changes over the course of time that have helped that. Now, there is one thing that I wanted to point out here. I'm gonna have Carrie kind of come in tight on the fender right here. Of course, you've got the trim on the lower door sill right here. And what's interesting is while that looks really good, here's something that I would like to see Volvo add. And you can, again, add your comments down in the comments section what you think about this. I think there should be some kind of a logo, maybe right here, whether it's an XC90 logo or something along those lines, maybe the T6 Inscription, which is what this trim level is, or maybe something on the trim level right there. Tell me what you think. Here's a little more information on trim levels and available exterior colors. When it comes to style, if the words premium and comfort suit your fancy, the Momentum is for you. Then there are the folks who seek refined and exclusive. You will find them driving the XC90 Inscription. And last but most certainly, not least, there is the dynamic and stylish R Design. And there are 7 available exterior colors, but to avoid not being too long-winded on one point, I will show you on the screen what those colors are, as opposed to naming them off one by one. Okay, an obvious important point is what's under the hood, and I will have Carrie come in and show you one of my favorite features here if you do choose to open the hood on your XC90. And I know a lot of owners might not do that, but I'm a gearhead, so I think that way. But I like the fact that you've got this yellow release right here. It just makes that so much easier. And plus, the hood opens so wide. I like that. And of course, for those of you who watch me regularly, you know I love the fact that it has the strut assist. There's actually one here, one on that side, that help out. But depending on what you want, of course, you've got your options, the T5, the T6, and the numbers range in horsepower, as you can see on your screen, all the way up to 400 horsepower if you want to get down the road as best as possible. And you do have multiple driving modes, but that's another thing that has changed for 2021, or 2022, I should say, with this model. You no longer have that little selector that you could scroll through the driving modes on the console, so kind of a little disappointing to me in that area, but it is what it is. Now, something else that is good here, of course, being the 3-row SUV, you're going to have multiple configurations for cargo space, and I'll give you all that information as far as what that is shortly. But another favorite feature here that is standard on any XC90, and that is the fact that you have hands-free with your power tailgate. That's always a good thing. And storage under the floor right here, just a little bit there. There's not a whole lot there until you do that, but of course that's not really storage. That's going to be where something that's very important, the spare tire and the tools to change that. I hope you never need that, but it's nice to know that it's there if you do, because some car makers apparently trying to save weight, going away from the spare tires and going to the tire repair kits. Now, as far as maximizing cargo space, we'll just do this on one side here. You're going to drop the seat just like that. Now, one thing I wish was here was some kind of a tether or something you could grab onto to bring that seat back up. When it comes to the rear interior, let's talk a little bit about what you'll find here. I'll have Carrie stand right over here where you can see this. You do have the shade if it gets warm during the day. If you're out on a long road trip, your rear seat passengers, or at least the middle row seat passengers, can use that. And I'll let Carrie come in here and just show you real quick what it looks like just as it sits right there. But what I'm going to do is have him come back out, and we'll move the seat forward and show you how easy it is to gain access to the rear seats. And of course, then we'll hit the ignition on everything. But there is a release right here on the top of the seat. You can see that a little bit better right there. That's easy to figure out. It has a little diagram on there, a little picture of the seat basically. Do you call that a diagram? I don't know if you call that a diagram. The correction Nazis of YouTube will let me know for sure. But a big question here is going to be rear seat space. So let's see, this is gonna be interesting because I don't normally get to do this, where I can climb into the back seat and you get to watch me do it. Boy, this is the bad thing about doing a leg workout when you are going to shoot a video is your legs are kind of tired. So let me put up the the left side seat here. Now, one thing is that you can adjust these seats back and forth a little bit. So it may look like I'm really tight back here, but you can increase your leg space a little bit. But the seats are comfortable. They're kind of like captain's chairs almost back here. But there are two, and by the way, how many people can you have in one of these models? Well, depending on the configuration of the seats, you can have 6, or you can have as many as 7, which is the case here because you have more of a bench seat here in the middle. And a lot of air conditioning flow, of course. It's quad zone climate control, so you can control the dual zone in the front and dual zone in the rear here as well. You also have plenty of air conditioning vents. And let me climb back out. This might make for an interesting portion of the video, so I'm gonna let Carrie keep filming. Good night. Yep, it's not that terribly bad. Ugh. The advantages of having someone film. Like I said, there's the ability to move these back and forth so your middle row seat passengers can give your rear seat passengers a little bit of extra space. One of the other things that I really like here, besides having the standard all-wheel drive, you're always going to have that power lift gate with the motion sensor, so you have the hands-free option. And I don't know how easily Carrie can pan up with the camera and show you. Also, we'll always have the panoramic sunroof right here. And so that makes a big difference right there also. Really good view here as well. And there is a lot of space back here. My legs are kind of short, or I at least like to be closer to the steering wheel because of my racing background. But as Carrie pans down towards where I am, have my feet kind of under the seat, I've got a lot of space here, but I can also move the seat forward if I need to, or move it back. Like I said, quad zone climate control. So here are the controls. Everything's digital, so the controls for your heated seats here for the middle row seat passengers. Something we definitely don't need today, but you can see on both sides. You can control that. You can control the fan speed. A very nice car here, or crossover, I should say. Let's get that right again. You're giving those correction Nazis ammunition. But hey, the more comments, the better, right? But ultimately very comfortable. And even if the seat was further back, I would still have room. If you've ever looked at the back of one of these seats, you've got, these aren't really map pockets, but that's where they would normally be. That's more of a map net, maybe. There's probably a proper terminology for that. But this indention here, ever wondered what that's for? That's actually to give these passengers back here a little more leg space if the seat is further back. So actually increasing comfort. But I know from what you guys have been telling me down in the comment section and on the poll I ran recently, what you want to know most about is the features you'll find in the front seat. So let's hop up there and take a look. Okay, a lot of you ask about the prices on these vehicles, and I always show that at the beginning of the video when I show the screenshot from the dealership's website. But with Carrie today on camera, I can actually show you the window sticker, or what's called the Monroney label, if you didn't know that. So you can see the price of this particular model, and it's obviously very well optioned out for that price. Now let's just talk a little bit about what you'll find here in the front seat. You got fully adjustable 10-way driver passenger seats. There is an option for having the massage function if you want that. This one has pretty much every feature you can imagine as far as what's here. But one thing I really like, I'm gonna open the glove box here. I'm gonna show the glove box real quick. I'll let Carrie come in on that. That is actually one of the largest glove boxes I think I have ever seen, but obviously we're just getting started with the front seat. You've got good materials throughout. And one thing you don't see in a lot of vehicles, again, I'll have Carrie come in and show this, it's found right here. Seat memory and multiple settings for the passenger side. That's normally just found on the driver's side. Okay, obviously the main area of business, the driver's side, all the real action takes place here. And one thing that's interesting, if you don't have experience with Volvos of recent years, you might be looking around for push button start here on the dashboard. That's not actually where it is. It's right down here on the center console. So you just put your foot on the brake and turn that knob right there. I don't know if I'd call that a button. You don't turn a button, you turn a knob, right? That's at least what I think. But a very comfortable vehicle, to say the very least. And what we're gonna do is just kind of give you a quick look. Again, the driver's side door right here. Seat memory right there. And again, I like the materials here. And one thing that's good about this, I'm gonna let Carrie kind of pan back just a little bit. I'm not gonna close the door all the way, but I just want to show you right here, the materials right here. You can see right there that that armrest is really, really soft. That's not an issue. A lot of vehicles, it sounds like that when you knock on that area right there. That's actually very soft. And of course, one thing that I do want to have Carrie show right here, at least for you Northwest Louisiana drivers, what is this? It's called a blinker lever. When you're driving down the road, if you're turning to the right or changing lanes to the right, you push it into the up position. The same thing applies when you're going to the left. I know that's a novel idea for a lot of people. It apparently wears some people out who do use it, because I'll notice they'll use it one time and then they'll turn 3 or 4 more times and won't use it at all. But anyway, all kidding aside, if you made it to this point in the video, you need to laugh. And we're gonna have Carrie actually come and sit in here in just a second and change your point of view and talk a little bit more about what you'll find in the interior. Now, I don't know how good of a shot Carrie can get from where he is, but we'll show you that you have the navigation here on the dashboard. I'll try and kind of get out of the way for that a little bit. But that is a nice feature. I like the fact that you can see that, and yeah, that's a good shot right there. So y'all can see that right there. Of course, you've got the digital and analog combination of the speedometer. Also got that tachometer right there. And your steering wheel mounted controls, everything you would expect to find here. Easy to use, easy to figure out. Of course, that dashboard is configurable, but to save time, we won't go through the whole thing. Now, one thing you will not see here, there's no shifter paddles on the steering wheel. So we'll get Carrie to look down here at the shifter. You've got kind of I almost call that an old school shifter, because it's not anything push button or anything like that. But as you can see by the diagram on the top, of course, you've got park, reverse, neutral, and drive. But if you are feeling a little sporty or maybe spirited, you just bump that over right there. And I like the fact that, well, actually, you know what? I take that back. It's a bit of a knock, I guess, but you'll notice that you push it up to gear up, and to gear down, you push it back. To me, it should be the opposite of that, but that's just my opinion, of course. And of course, you've got the covers here for everything, for your connectivity, wireless charging, something else that's standard right there. I can put my phone there so you can just see that at work right here. Phone almost doesn't fit on there, but it does. You give it just a second, it's gonna come on. There we go. And the console, and you can get a little bit better view here as we look at the console, of course, of the ignition right there. You've got the power parking brake and cup holders here, space here in the console. I'd say maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 if you fold them right, maybe 5 or 6, I don't know. Perfectly folded vehicle, visionary t-shirts, a little more connectivity right there. But obviously one of the main features people are going to want to know about is, how does this car drive? Or should I say this crossover? Man, I like giving the YouTube correction Nazis something to work with. It's not a car, I know that. You don't have to tell me down in the comments. All right, we're gonna hop out on the road for a quick test drive, and that's one thing I definitely like about the XC90. Nice, smooth ride. You do have air suspension available, and even when it doesn't have that feature, it still rides extremely well. And how do I know? Well, because I'm actually enjoying driving on my own personal test track. I'm coming to a stop because I don't know if we needed to stop because of that state trooper driving by right there. But I'm on my personal rough riding test track to see how suspension and shocks perform, because we're driving through Shreveport and Bossier. It's just the way that it is. So I know these vehicles drive great. Now, one thing that I would like to see Volvo return to on these models is the fact that you have the, oh, that's what he was coming for. Okay, we're gonna have to get off the bridge real quick. Is you don't have the mode selector anymore down here on the center console. It's actually in the infotainment screen, and honestly, I don't really like that because you don't need to be digging through menus when you're driving down the road to see where something is. It's just kind of a safety issue in my opinion. So just one thing that I'd like to see change, maybe for 2023. Not something that I think would be a deal breaker for a lot of people, but just so you know. Now there are of course multiple packages that you can buy that can include things such as the heated steering wheel. Of course you can get ventilated seats and heated seats. We've got the ventilated seats on here today on this test drive, even being September 30th of 2021. It's still rather warm here in Northwest Louisiana, so I'm very happy about that, but everything's easy to get to. To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any other vehicle you are interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.